Hello, I'm Divya A, Assistant Professor, ECE, AJ Institute of Engineering and Technology, Mangalore. So, in today's video lecture, I will be continuing with WDM concepts and components. Today, I will be explaining about fiber grating filters, grating basics, fiber Bragg grating, and FPG applications. So first of all, what is meant by grating? So grating is an important element in the wavelength division multiplexing systems for combining and separating individual wavelengths. So basically, a grating is a periodic structure or perturbation in a material. So this variation in the material has the property of reflecting or transmitting light in a certain direction depending on the wavelength. Thus, gratings can be categorized as either reflecting or transmitting gratings. So we'll see the basics of grating. So here in this figure shown, it defines various parameters for a reflection grating. That is, here theta I is the incident angle of the light and theta D is the diffracted angle. And this here lambda is the period of grating. That is, period of the grating means the periodicity of the structural variations in the material. So the constructive interference at a wavelength lambda occurs in the imaging plane when the rays diffracted at angle theta d satisfy the grating equation, which is given by this equation here 10.45, that is lambda. So what is meant by lambda? Lambda is the period of the grating into sine of theta I, that is incident angle, minus sine of theta d, that is the diffracted angle, which is equal to m into lambda. So here m is called the order of the grating. So in general, only the first order diffraction condition, that is m is equal to 1, is considered. So a grating can separate individual wavelengths since the grating equation is satisfied at different points in the imaging plane for different wavelengths. So fiber Bragg gratings. So a fiber Bragg grating, it is a type of distributed Bragg reflector constructed in a short segment of optical fiber. So this fiber Bragg grating, it reflects particular wavelengths of light and transmits all others. So this is achieved by adding a periodic variation to the refractive index of the fiber core, so which generates a wavelength specific dielectric mirror. So a fiber Bragg grating can therefore be used as an inline optical filter to block certain wavelength or as a wavelength specific reflector. Now you can see this is a schematic diagram of a fiber Bragg grating. So simply put, a fiber Bragg grating, it is a distributed Bragg reflector. So this is what a simple FPG looks like. So normal fibers without any grating, they have uniform refractive index along the length, right? But in a FPG, the refractive index of the fiber core, you can see this is the fiber core, changes periodically along a short length. So as shown in the picture, the period is here lambda. So what kind of effect will this have on the fiber's light guiding properties? So as shown here, when a light with many wavelengths, lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n, so a light with many wavelengths is launched into a FPG. One particular wavelength is in phase with the grating period, and this wavelength is reflected back to the input end. As you can see here, all other wavelengths will pass through to the other end since they are not in phase with the grating period. So this will make the FPG reflect a particular wavelength and transmit all other wavelengths. So I hope you understood this. So here in this slide, it shows the spectrum response of a FPG. So the first graph here, this is the input spectrum. The center graph, it is the transmitted spectrum, and the third graph is the reflected spectrum. So Bragg grating wavelength, that is given by lambda b. So it is the central wavelength that is reflected back by the FPG, and it can be calculated using the equation 2 lambda n effective, that is the effective refractive index. So here we can notice that Bragg wavelength, it is the function of effective refractive index and the period of the grating. So here this delta lambda is the bandwidth of a Bragg grating. So fiber Bragg gratings have many applications in modern fiber optic communication. So some of the applications they are used as optical add drop multiplexers, dispersion compensators, and stress and temperature sensors. Now, speaking about how to make an FPG. So, as I told you, a fiber Bragg grating is a narrowband reflection filter. It is a narrowband reflection filter. So, that is fabricated through a photo imprinting process. So the technique is based on the observation that germanium doped silica fiber exhibits high photosensitivity to the ultraviolet light. So this means that we can bring a change in the refractive index of the core by exposing it to ultraviolet radiation such as a 244 nanometer. So here one of the method used to create a fiber phase grating is called as the external writing technique. So this is shown here in this figure 10.20. So the grating fabrication, it is done by means of UV beam. So which is divided into two beams using a beam splitter. And then these two beams, they are brought together at an angle theta. Right? So how this is done? By reflections from two UV mirrors. So the two UV beams, they interfere and write the pattern on the photosensitive fiber. So the same thing is shown here. Two UV beams, they are intersecting or interfering and writing the pattern on the photosensitive fiber. So here the region of high intensity, that is denoted by the shaded ovals, cause an increase in the local refractive index of the photosensitive core, whereas it remains unaffected in the zero intensity regions. So a permanent reflective Bragg grating is thus written into the core. So when a multi-wavelength signal encounters the grating, those wavelengths that are phase matched to the Bragg reflection condition are transmitted and all others are reflected. So the wavelengths that are phase matched to the Bragg reflection condition are reflected and all others are transmitted. So using the standard grating equation, which we already saw earlier, that is lambda into sin theta I minus sin theta d is equal to m lambda, with lambda being the wavelength of the ultraviolet light. The period lambda of the interference pattern can be calculated from the angle theta between the two interfering beams of the free space wavelength lambda UV. So, the imprinted grating can be represented as a uniform sinusoidal modulation of the refractive index along the core. So, given by this equation 10.46, where N core is the unexposed core refractive index and delta N is the photo-induced change in the index. So the maximum reflectivity occurs when the Bragg conditions hold. That is, Bragg's condition is given by 2 lambda N effective, where lambda is the period of grating and N effective is the mode effective index of the core. So at this wavelength, the peak reflectivity Rmax for the grating of length L and coupling coefficient K is given by this equation. That is the equation for peak reflectivity. And the full bandwidth delta lambda over which this maximum reflectivity holds is given by this equation. So an approximation for the full bandwidth is given by this equation here, where S is equal to 1 for strong gratings with near 100% reflectivity and S is equal to 0.5 for weak gratings, that is for this value of S. So for a weak uniform sinusoidal modulation of the core index, the coupling coefficient is given by this equation, K is equal to pi delta N into efficiency divided by Bragg wavelength, with the eta being the fraction of the optical power contained in the fiber. So under the assumption that the grating is uniform in the core, so eta can be approximated to 1 minus V raised to minus 2, where V is the V number of the fiber, or V stands for value. So V number of the fiber. So in this example, the table below shows the values of the reflectivity, maximum reflectivity for different values of K into L. So now consider a fiber grating with the following parameters. Excuse me. So L is equal to 0.5 centimeter, Bragg's wavelength is equal to 1530 nanometer, and effective index given by 1.48. Delta N is equal to 2.5 into 10 to the power of minus 4 and efficiency is equal to 82%. So to calculate the coupling coefficient, we use the equation given in 10.51, that is this equation, and then to calculate the full bandwidth we use this equation, and we get the answer as K is equal to 4.2 per centimeter and delta lambda is equal to, that is the bandwidth, is equal to 0.38 nanometer. So finally, speaking about the FBG application. So here what we can see is a concept of, in this first figure it shows the concept of a demultiplexing function using a fiber Bragg grating. So to extract the desired wavelength, a circulator is used in conjunction with the grating. So here the four wavelengths, lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3 and lambda 4, they enter the port 1 of the circulator and leave from port 2. So as you can notice, all the wavelength except lambda 2, they pass through the so all the wavelengths except lambda 2 will pass through the grating. Why? Because since lambda 2 satisfies the Bragg condition of the grating, it gets reflected and it enters port 2 of the circulator and exits from port 3 of the circulator. Now to create a device for combining or separating n wavelengths, one need to cascade n minus 1 FBGs and n minus 1 circulators. So this is to create a device for combining or separating n wavelengths. So for n wavelengths we need n minus 1 FBGs and n minus 1 circulator. So this figure here, it shows the multiplexing function of the four wavelengths, lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3 and lambda 4, using 3 FBGs and 3 circulators. So the fiber grating filters are labeled as here FBG to G3 and FBG4 are constructed. These are constructed in such a way that they reflect wavelengths lambda 2, lambda 3 and lambda 4 respectively, and to pass all other wavelengths. To see how the multiplexer functions, first consider the combination of circulator C2 and fiber filter FBG2. Here filter FBG2, it reflects the wavelength lambda 2 and allows lambda 1 to pass through. After wavelength lambda 1 passes through FBG2, it enters port 2 of the circulator C2 and exits from port 3. So wavelength lambda 2 enters port 1 of the circulator C2 and exits from port 2. So after being reflected from FBG2, it enters port 2 of circulator C2 and exits from port 3 together with wavelength lambda 1. Next, at the circulator C3, wavelength lambda 3 enters port 3 of circulator C3 and exits from port 1 and travels towards BG3. After being reflected from BG3, it enters port 1 of circulator C3 and exits from port 2 together with wavelengths lambda 1 and lambda 2. After a similar process takes place at circulator C4 and filter FBG4 to insert wavelength lambda 4. So the four wavelengths all exit together from port 2 of circulator C4 and can be coupled easily into the fiber. So the coupler size limitation when using fiber Bragg grating is that one filter is needed for each wavelength, and normally the operation is sequential with wavelengths being transmitted by one filter after another. Therefore, the losses are not uniform from channel to channel since each wavelength goes to a different number of circulators and fiber gratings, so which adds loss to that particular channel. So this may be acceptable for a small number of channels, but the loss between the first and the last inserted wavelengths is a restriction for large channel counts. Thank you.